Welcome to Edu Talks. Speak English with confidence. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Emma, and I am very happy that you are here today. If you are learning English and you want to speak more clearly, more fluently, and with more confidence, then this podcast is for you. Many English learners face the same challenge. They spend months or even years studying English. They learn new vocabulary, they study grammar rules, they watch English videos, listen to lessons, and read many articles or books. But when the moment comes to actually speak English, something feels difficult. Their mind becomes slow. They feel nervous or shy. Sometimes they know the words in their head, but they cannot say them easily. Maybe this situation feels familiar to you. Maybe you can understand English when you listen to it. Maybe you can read English quite well. But when it is time to speak, you hesitate. You may ask yourself questions like, why is speaking English so difficult? Why can I understand more than I can say? What can I do to become more fluent? The truth is actually very simple. Speaking English is a skill, and like every other skill, it improves with the right kind of practice. Listening and reading are very important, but they are not enough by themselves. Your brain, your ears, and your mouth must learn to work together when you speak. Today, I want to introduce you to one of the most powerful and practical methods for improving your English speaking ability. This method is called shadowing. Shadowing is a simple but extremely effective technique that can help you improve your listening, pronunciation, speaking, and fluency all at the same time. Many language learners around the world use this technique every day. Even professional interpreters practice shadowing to train their listening and speaking skills. In today's episode, we will explore what shadowing really is, why it works so well for learning English, how you can practice it step by step, a simple shadowing exercise you can try today, and a short daily routine that can help you become more fluent. So if you want to speak English more naturally and confidently, stay with me until the end of this episode. Now, let's begin with one important question. Now that we have introduced the topic, let's begin with a very important question. What exactly is shadowing? Understanding this method clearly will help you use it more effectively in your English learning journey. Shadowing is a simple but powerful language learning technique that helps you improve your listening and speaking skills at the same time. The idea behind shadowing is very straightforward. You listen to a native English speaker, and you repeat what the speaker says almost immediately. Instead of waiting until the speaker finishes the sentence, you begin repeating the words while the speaker is still talking. Your voice follows the speaker's voice very closely. That is why this technique is called shadowing. Think about the way a real shadow behaves. When you walk outside on a sunny day, your shadow follows you everywhere. When you move forward, your shadow moves forward. When you stop, your shadow stops. Your shadow always follows your movement. Shadowing in language learning works in a very similar way. Your voice follows the speaker's voice just like a shadow. As you listen to the speaker, you try to repeat the same words, the same rhythm, and the same pronunciation. Let's imagine a very simple example. Suppose the speaker says a sentence like this: "Learning English takes time and patience." When you practice shadowing, you listen to the sentence and repeat it almost at the same moment. Learning English takes time and patience. Learning English takes time and patience. You try to match the speaker's speed. you try to follow the speaker's rhythm, and you try to copy the pronunciation as closely as possible. At the beginning, this might feel a little challenging. You may not catch every word perfectly. Sometimes you might miss a word or say something slightly differently. That is completely normal. The goal of shadowing is not to speak perfectly from the very beginning. The real goal is to train 3 important parts of your language ability to work together. These 3 parts are your ears, your brain, and your mouth. Your ears listen carefully to the sounds of English. Your brain processes the meaning and structure of the sentence, and your mouth practices producing the sounds of the language. When these 3 parts start working together smoothly, speaking becomes much easier and more natural. Another important thing to understand is that shadowing is different from traditional repetition exercises. In many English lessons, you listen to a sentence, then you pause the audio, and then you repeat the sentence after the speaker finishes. That type of practice can still be helpful, but shadowing is more active and more dynamic. In shadowing, you do not pause the audio. You continue listening while you speak. This forces your brain to process English faster and more naturally. Because of this, shadowing trains your brain to respond more quickly in real conversations. Another advantage of shadowing is that it helps you learn natural speaking patterns. Native English speakers often connect words together when they speak. They also change their tone, rhythm, and stress depending on the sentence. These natural speech patterns are sometimes difficult to learn by reading textbooks alone. However, when you practice shadowing, you begin to hear these patterns clearly. As you repeat the speaker's sentences, your voice slowly starts to copy these patterns automatically. Over time, this makes your English sound smoother and more natural. So, in simple terms, shadowing means 3 things. First, you listen carefully to the speaker. Second, you repeat the words almost immediately. Third, you follow the speaker's voice closely like a shadow. Even though this method is simple, it can create powerful improvements in your speaking ability when you practice it regularly. Now that you understand what shadowing is and how it works, the next question becomes very important. Why is shadowing considered one of the most effective methods for improving English fluency? In the next section, we will explore the key reasons why this technique works so well for language learners around the world. So why is shadowing such a powerful method for improving English fluency? Many English learners spend a lot of time studying vocabulary and grammar, but they still feel uncomfortable when they try to speak. This happens because speaking is not only about knowing words or understanding grammar rules. Speaking is a skill that requires coordination between your brain, your ears, and your mouth. All of these parts must work together smoothly. Shadowing helps train all of these skills at the same time, and that is one of the main reasons why it is so effective. Let's look at some of the biggest benefits of practicing shadowing regularly. The first benefit is that shadowing improves your pronunciation. When you carefully listen to a native speaker and repeat the sentence immediately, you begin to copy the way the speaker pronounces each word. You hear the individual sounds more clearly, and you try to reproduce them with your own voice. Over time, this process helps your pronunciation become clearer and more natural. You begin to notice small details in the way English sounds are produced, and your mouth slowly learns how to create those sounds more accurately. The second benefit is that shadowing strengthens your listening ability. In real conversations, people do not always speak slowly or clearly. Native speakers often speak quickly, and they frequently connect words together when they talk. For many learners, this can make English difficult to understand. However, when you practice shadowing, Your ears begin to adapt to these natural speaking patterns. You start noticing how words blend together and how sentences flow in natural speech. Little by little, your listening becomes stronger because your brain learns to recognize these sound patterns more quickly. The third benefit of shadowing is that it builds speaking confidence. Many learners feel nervous when they try to speak English. They worry about making mistakes, choosing the wrong words, or sounding unnatural. Shadowing creates a comfortable environment for speaking practice. Instead of speaking completely alone, you are speaking together with the audio. The speaker guides your pace, your rhythm, and your pronunciation. Because of this, the pressure becomes much lower. You simply follow the speaker and repeat what you hear. As you practice this regularly, your confidence slowly grows. The fourth benefit is that shadowing teaches the natural rhythm and melody of English. Every language has its own rhythm. In English, some words are stressed strongly while others are softer. The pitch of the voice also rises and falls throughout a sentence. This pattern of stress and pitch is called intonation. Intonation plays an important role in sounding natural when you speak English. When you shadow a native speaker, you automatically begin copying these rhythm and intonation patterns. Your speech starts to flow more smoothly, and your sentences sound more natural. Another important advantage of shadowing is that it trains your brain to think faster in English. Many learners translate everything into their first language before speaking. This habit slows down communication. But when you repeat sentences quickly during shadowing, your brain becomes used to processing English directly. Instead of translating, you begin responding more naturally in English. This is a key step toward achieving real fluency. Finally, shadowing also strengthens your speaking muscles. Speaking a new language is a physical activity as well as a mental one. Your lips, tongue, and jaw must learn how to move in new ways to produce unfamiliar sounds. Regular shadowing gives these muscles the exercise they need. With practice, speaking becomes smoother and easier because your mouth becomes comfortable producing English sounds. So as you can see, shadowing improves many important skills at the same time. It strengthens your pronunciation, sharpens your listening, increases your confidence, teaches natural rhythm, helps you think faster in English, and trains your speaking muscles. Because of these benefits, many language teachers and experts recommend shadowing as one of the most effective speaking practice methods. Now that you understand why shadowing is so powerful, the next step is learning how to practice it correctly. In the next section, I will guide you through a simple step-by-step method that you can follow easily in your daily English practice. The next step is learning how to practice shadowing the right way. Many learners hear about shadowing and try it once or twice, but they often feel confused because they are not sure how to do it properly. The good news is that shadowing does not require complicated tools or difficult techniques. With a clear method and a little patience, anyone can begin practicing it. In this section, I will guide you through a simple step-by-step approach that you can follow easily. Let's begin with the first step. Step 1 is choosing the right audio. The audio you select is very important for successful practice. Try to find English recordings that are short, clear, and not too fast. A short podcast, a brief conversation, or a simple English lesson can work very well. If the audio is too difficult or too fast, it may feel frustrating to follow. That is why beginners should start with slower and simpler English. Short clips between 30 seconds and 1 minute are often perfect for shadowing practice. Step 2 is listening first without speaking. Before you begin shadowing, take a moment to simply listen to the audio. Play the recording once or twice and focus only on listening. Do not try to repeat anything yet. Just relax and pay attention to the meaning of the sentences. Notice how the speaker pronounces the words and how the voice rises and falls during the sentence. This step helps your brain become familiar with the sound and rhythm of the audio. Step 3 is listening while reading the transcript. If a written transcript of the audio is available, this step can be extremely helpful. A transcript is simply the written version of everything the speaker says. Now, play the audio again while reading the text at the same time. Seeing the words while hearing them makes the message easier to understand. You may also begin noticing how certain words connect together when spoken naturally. This step strengthens the connection between written English and spoken English in your mind. Step 4 is starting the shadowing practice slowly. Now you are ready to begin shadowing. Play the audio again and try to repeat the words almost at the same time as the speaker. Your goal is to follow the speaker closely, just like a shadow follows a person. Try to match the rhythm and pronunciation as much as possible. Do not worry if you cannot repeat every word perfectly. At the beginning, it is normal to feel a little slow or miss some words. Your brain is learning a new skill, and that takes time. Step 5 is repeating the audio several times. Repetition is one of the most important parts of shadowing. Practicing an audio clip only once will not give your brain enough time to learn the patterns of the language. Instead, try repeating the same audio several times. 3, 4, or even 5 repetitions can make a big difference. Each time you repeat the audio, the sentences will feel more familiar. Your pronunciation will improve, and your speech will begin to sound smoother. Step 6 is recording your voice. This step is optional, but it can be very useful. If possible, try recording your voice while you practice shadowing. After recording, listen to your voice and compare it with the original speaker. Ask yourself a few simple questions. Does my pronunciation sound similar to the speaker? Am I speaking at a similar speed? Am I following the rhythm of the sentence? This type of self-evaluation helps you notice small improvements and areas where you can improve further. Let's quickly review the shadowing method. First, choose simple and clear audio. Second, listen carefully without speaking. Third, listen again while reading the transcript. Fourth, begin shadowing the speaker. Fifth, repeat the audio several times. And finally, record your voice if possible. When you follow these steps regularly, your listening becomes sharper and your speaking becomes more natural. Now that you understand how to practice shadowing step by step, you may be wondering what a real shadowing exercise sounds like. In the next section, we will practice several simple sentences together so you can experience how shadowing works in action. Let's try a short shadowing exercise together. In this section, we will go through a few simple sentences so you can experience how shadowing works. The goal of this exercise is not perfection. The goal is to practice speaking smoothly and confidently while following the speaker's rhythm and pronunciation. I will say a short sentence, and your job is to listen carefully and repeat the sentence immediately after me. If you want, You can also try to speak at the same time as the speaker. Let's begin with the first sentence. Sentence 1. Learning English becomes easier with daily practice. Now repeat it. Learning English becomes easier with daily practice. Very good. Let's say it one more time together. Learning English becomes easier with daily practice. Excellent. Now let's move to the second sentence. Sentence 2. I practice speaking English a little every day. Now repeat it. I practice speaking English a little every day. Good. Let's try it again together. I practice speaking English a little every day. Great work. Now let's continue with the third sentence. Sentence 3. Listening carefully helps me understand English better. Now repeat it. Listening carefully helps me understand English better. Very nice. Let's repeat it one more time together. Listening carefully helps me understand English better. Now let's try a slightly longer sentence. Sentence 4. When I practice shadowing, my speaking becomes more natural. Repeat the sentence. When I practice shadowing, my speaking becomes more natural. Very good. Let's say it again together. When I practice shadowing, my speaking becomes more natural. Now here is our final sentence. Sentence 5. Confidence grows when I speak English regularly. Now repeat it. Confidence grows when I speak English regularly. Excellent. Let's repeat it one more time together. Confidence grows when I speak English regularly. Wonderful work! If you practiced these sentences with me, then you have already completed a short shadowing exercise. You may have noticed something interesting during this practice. When you repeat the same sentence several times, it begins to feel easier and more comfortable to say. This happens because your brain becomes familiar with the sentence structure, and your mouth becomes more comfortable producing the sounds. As a result, your confidence slowly grows. Even practicing a few sentences like this every day can make a big difference over time. Now, you might be wondering how you can include shadowing in your daily routine, especially if you have a busy schedule. The good news is that you do not need hours of practice every day. Even 10 minutes of focused practice can help you improve. Let's look at a simple 10-minute shadowing routine. For the first 2 minutes, listen only. Choose a short piece of English audio and listen carefully without speaking. Focus on understanding the general meaning and the sound of the sentences. For the next 3 minutes, listen and read. Play the audio again while reading the transcript if it is available. This helps connect the spoken words with the written text. For the following 3 minutes, begin shadowing. Repeat the speaker's words while listening to the audio. Try to follow the rhythm and pronunciation as closely as possible. For the final 2 minutes, try speaking without the audio. Repeat the sentences from memory or read them aloud on your own. This short routine takes only 10 minutes, but if you practice it consistently, you will notice real improvement in your listening, pronunciation, and speaking. Before finishing this section, it is also helpful to mention a few common mistakes that learners sometimes make when practicing shadowing. One common mistake is choosing audio that is too difficult. If the speaker talks too fast or uses very complex vocabulary, it can become hard to follow. It is always better to start with simple and clear English. Another mistake is trying to speak too fast. Some learners try to match the speaker's speed immediately. Instead, focus first on clear pronunciation and steady rhythm. Speed will improve naturally over time. A third mistake is not repeating enough. Shadowing becomes much more effective when you repeat the same audio several times. Repetition helps your brain absorb the patterns of the language. The final mistake is not listening carefully. Shadowing is not only about speaking. Careful listening is just as important. Pay attention to the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, and tone. If you avoid these common mistakes and practice regularly, your shadowing sessions will become much more effective. Remember, progress in language learning happens step by step. Each small practice session brings you closer to speaking English more fluently and confidently. Now, before we finish today's episode, I would like to share a small message of encouragement for everyone who is learning English. Before we say goodbye, I want you to remember something very important. Learning English is not a race. It is a journey, and every learner moves forward at their own pace. Some days you may feel confident and motivated. Other days you may feel tired or unsure about your progress. This is completely normal. Every language learner experiences these moments. What matters most is that you continue moving forward, even if your progress feels small. Fluency does not appear overnight. It grows slowly through daily practice, patience, and consistency. Even 5 or 10 minutes of practice each day can help your brain become more comfortable with English. When you practice shadowing regularly, you are helping your ears become better listeners, your mouth become more comfortable with English sounds, and your brain become faster at understanding and speaking the language. So please, do not worry if your pronunciation is not perfect yet, or if you miss some words while practicing. Mistakes are not something to fear. They are actually a sign that you are learning and improving. Be kind to yourself, stay patient, and continue practicing step by step. Over time, you will begin to notice small changes. Sentences will feel easier to say. Your listening will become clearer, and little by little, your confidence will begin to grow. Every small improvement is a step closer to speaking English more naturally and comfortably. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. Today we explored shadowing, a simple but powerful technique that can help you improve your English listening, pronunciation, and speaking skills at the same time. We talked about what shadowing is, why it works so well for language learners, how you can practice it step by step, and how a short daily routine can help you build fluency over time. Remember that the secret to improvement is not practicing for many hours once in a while. The real secret is practicing a little bit every day. Just a few minutes of focused practice can help you build stronger English skills day by day. So starting today, try to include shadowing in your daily routine. Choose short and clear English audio, listen carefully, and repeat the speaker like a shadow. With time, you will notice that your pronunciation becomes clearer, your listening becomes sharper, and your speaking becomes more confident. Thank you so much for spending your time learning with me today. I truly hope this episode helps you feel more confident and motivated in your English learning journey. If you enjoyed this lesson, be sure to join me in the next episode, where we will continue discovering simple and practical ways to improve your English every day. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep speaking English. This is Emma from Edu Talks, wishing you a wonderful day and happy English learning. I will see you in the next episode.